Hello again. Well, this video is going to be a bit different to the ones I normally do, in that it's about odd things. Now, I know what you're thinking. Most of my videos are about odd things, but this is even odder. What I mean is, I'm going to show you some items that I've got in my collection that I've collected over the years that are what I think are a bit strange or unusual, and show you. Now, the first object I'm going to offer you is this one. Now, what do you think that is? It's a very nicely made thing. It's a sort of a pink bakelite base, and you've got a little brass rod along here, and then this little unit here runs nicely along here and smoothly, nicely knurled, and you've got a little chuck on the end where you can put something in, and this little wheel here rubs on this knurled surface, so as you move it along it turns this little thing, and then under here you've got something fits in there. So what do you think it is? Well, I'm going to give you a clue. These might show you what it might be, and I say I have no guarantee this is what it is. This is what I'm guessing it is, because I think it was used in connection with these, right, which are 78 RPM records. And what I think it is, I'll just move those out of the way a moment. It's a needle sharpening device for old-fashioned gramophone needles. As far as I know, that's just my guess. Now, in the old days, these were the records. These are 78 RPM. I know a lot of people will know this, but there's probably young people out there who don't even know what records are. I mean, my grandsons, for example, have never seen a record. They don't exist as far as they're concerned, let alone a 78 RPM record. So this is a 78 RPM record, in case you didn't, for those of you who don't know. And they use needles, and generally speaking you were supposed to use a new needle for every record. And I think this device here was brought out to save cost, and you could sharpen your own needles. That's what I think it is, but it's only a guess. Well, anyway, while we're on the subject, I just wanted to show you these because I think they're rather nice. These are lovely little tins. I think I got these from my late father, because he would have had a gramophone. And look, they're beautiful little things, and look how nice and clean and shiny that is after all these years, look, and it's still nice. Now notice songster needles on there. These are his master's voice, and there's the little dog, and I expect you all know his name. It's Nipper. That was the dog there. And this one, you see, and in the top it's got a little thing, Sprite Gramophone Dealer, his master's voice instruments, records and accessories, Station Road, Sunbury. I don't know why my dad's got that. It may have been from his dad. And then in this one, look, use each point only once only, sorry. And inside there's some stamps that my dad's collected. But, I mean, they're rather nice, aren't they? I just wanted to show somebody because I think they're beautiful. And I've had them for years, and they would have been thrown away, like everything. While we're on the subject of records, aren't these records lovely? I mean, these were my dad's, and there's no way I want to play them or anything. I mean, this is Midnight, the Stars and You by Ray Noble and his orchestra, the Foxtrot. It's not really my thing, but look at the beautiful label on there with the HMV and Nipper the dog. And we've lost all this, haven't we? It's a shame. Even the cover is beautiful. Look at the old gramophones players, look. These are the things we're talking about, where you had needles and that. But I love all this old packaging and stuff. It's so much nicer than what we've got today, I think. I mean, that's one there. There's one here, look. Stern record. This is, what's it called? The Clockmaker's Dream. Electric automatic organ. Stern. Look at the label on there. It's lovely, isn't it? And again on the other side. And then we've got a couple more here I just wanted to show you. They're interesting because of the names on the covers, I think. Like Wisher and Son. I wonder if there's still a company called Wisher and Son. I doubt it very much. 7 London Road, Derby. And again on the other side, and then you'll see there an advert for Songster Needles, which is interesting because that little tin there, look, is exactly the same tin featured on there, look, Songster Needles, and there's a little bird on there, 200 extra loud tone. Oh, the only difference is that's got 200 loud tone, and that one's an extra loud tone, so they're a bit super, aren't they? Isn't that nice though? I mean, it's just such a shame. I can't possibly throw them. Most people would have binned them, but I just can't bring myself to bin it. Now here's another unusual thing that related. I wonder if anybody knows what this is. You see, it's got a little plunger thing on the top here that pops in and out, and sort of a balance in there, and you see a little badge on the end there. Well, what this is, I know what this is for sure because I've actually got the box it came in. And God knows where I got it from. His Master's Voice Instantaneous Speed Checker. Now this only works with 78 records like I've just shown you. I'll just take this out. I've even got the original instruction book, look. Here's the little instruction book folded up to go in the box. Don't suppose it's ever been opened. Instantaneous speed tester. And then we can open it up and it shows you how to use it, look. And basically, I've actually tried this on an old record player that does 78s. And what you do, it's got a hole in the bottom that goes over the spindle of the record player. And you pop it on like that. And then you put the thing round going at 78 RPM. And this little plunge here that sits up, that moves, it's very lightly sprung and it moves. Now when it's going round at the right speed, that becomes flush with the top of there. If it comes up too high, it stays up like that. It's not going fast enough. And if it goes down and goes below the surface, I'll push it with my pencil. If it goes inside like that, then it's going too fast. And the idea is you adjust the speed until that's just flush with the top, and then you know it's the right speed. But isn't it nice? I mean, again, it would have been thrown away and I rescued it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. No, you know, when I go, it's going to get thrown, isn't it? But it's a shame because I don't know how many years old that is. But uses Master's Voice needles only, look. A really nice little thing, I think. I can't bear to throw it away. And then I've got another thing here. I haven't got a clue what this is. I don't... It's not that old. Decamagnetic bias compensator type B. And as I say, I don't know what it is. But again, in the lid, there are some instructions. It's something to do with the more modern record players. Because it's got a modern arm, look, you see. Magnetic bias type B compensator. It's not something I've ever come across. It's something you fit on an arm there. And you've got a little various components. And there's a magnetic ring, look. And another piece there, and a piece of fabric, a bit of ribbon. I have no idea what you use it for. There's a little pin there. As I say, there are instructions, but magnetic bias type B compensator. It's not as nice as the other things because it's not old, is it? But nonetheless, it was in a nice little box, and I thought, well, I'll stick it in with my collection of other junk. I just don't like throwing it away, that's all. But I don't know what it is. It's used with an arm on a modern record player anyway, I know that. So that's an interesting little thing. Now, this is something. I've got something here. I have not got a clue what this is, and I wish somebody would help me because it's been bothering me for a long time. This little implement here, what on earth is it? Look, it's got a little spade type thing on the end, which is bent almost at right angles. And it's got a really heavy machine knob. Now it is heavy. It is quite heavy. It's solid metal, and it's been machined properly on a lathe or something. And it's got this little piece sticking out here, and the end is bent over, as you can see, with a little spade-like thing. And I have no idea what it's for. At first I thought it was a screwdriver, and somebody's bent it over. But looking at it, it's not. It's been made like that. Now I think. As my wife had the best suggestion of all, actually. I've had various suggestions for it. Some are not very edifying. I think my grandson said it was for picking your nose, which I shouldn't really mention here, should I? But my wife had an idea, and I think she might be there, but she said it might be for cleaning out your pipe. If you're a smoker, maybe it's the thing for putting in the bowl and cleaning it out. Now, I've no idea. I mean, that might be a pipe dream. That's a good one, isn't it? It might be a pipe dream, folks. But that was what my wife said, and actually that's the best suggestion to date. I don't know whether perhaps it's a lever or something. Perhaps it come out of a machine. You know, maybe it's part of a machine, and it pulls in and out, and this thing pulls something like say on an you know, I'm only thinking of something like an old-fashioned organ or something like that, and this pulls out one of the stops. I have no idea. If anybody knows what that is, I'd appreciate you to comment and tell me, because I have no idea, and it's really annoying me because I'd like to know what it is. But it's too nice to throw away, isn't it? Look at it. It's so well made. But I just wish I knew what it was. So let me know if anybody knows. There's a couple of things I'm going to show you. They're not that unusual. I thought this was rather nice. Again, I think this is in my grandfather's box. Weights meter, price 8 and 6pence. Guaranteed accuracy. For best results, keep handy a weights meter. Everybody must have a weights meter, mustn't they? The weights Volt amp meter tests high and low voltages, detects distortion, tests valve consumption, can be used to test eliminator volts, and as a pole finder, useful for cars. So let's open it up and have a look, shall we? Nice little box. The thing is, again, as I said, these older things, look at the display on there. Isn't it lovely, all the artwork? I just really love it. And the price, look, 8 and 6pence. 8 shillings and 6pence. In today's money, for those who don't know, we're talking around about 40 pence, I suppose. Around that, anyway. Now, here's the little meter here, look, you can see. It's got 2 little fly leads on it. There we go. I just thought it was a nice little thing and too nice to throw away. And again, as with the other things, you get a nice little instruction book with it. And you can see it's quite old. I don't know the date, but look at this. Standard Wet Battery Company, Shaftesbury Avenue, WC2. And inside it shows you how you can use this for testing an HT battery. It's got to be pretty old, isn't it? The weights. Look at the style of the text on here. It's almost like, what do you call it? Like Dracula's sort of writing, isn't it? The sort of thing you'd find on a horror. Looks like the sort of writing you find on a horror film, doesn't it? It's an odd font, that is, isn't it? Look at the V and the W and the S's on the end. So interesting, isn't it? I like all these old things, especially the artwork. I think it's fantastic. I mean, somebody's spent time drawing all that out, look. That's marvellous, isn't it? It's far too nice to throw away, isn't it? It's really nice, I think. No possible use, and again, that was thrown away, and most people probably would throw it away. But it is a shame. I just hope they don't get thrown away when I've gone. It ought to be in a museum, hadn't it? I mean, maybe there's thousands of them about, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever seen one, but I thought it was rather nice. The only other thing I was going to show you at the moment, but this is probably a different video, is this implement here. What do you reckon this is then? It's an unusual thing, isn't it? It's a tool, obviously. I know what this is, by the way, because I actually used it. And by the way, I've got another one of those. Here's the Big Daddy. This is the Big Daddy one. And as you can see, it looks like an implement of torture, doesn't it? I mean, you wouldn't want anybody to come at you with that, would you? You think, oh my God, what are they going to do to me? Well, actually, it's a tool, and it's used in the electrical industry. And we used to actually use these. In the 1960s and right up to the 1980s, things like electric irons and other devices used what we call braided cable to make it more flexible. It was like normal cable we have today, and it was rubber coated, and around the outside, the rubber sleeve, they would have a braiding, a cotton braiding all the way around. It's rather nice actually. You don't seem to see it nowadays. And when you put a plug on and you had to strip it off, that braiding used to get all loose and untidy, and we used to put a little rubber sleeve on it. You used to buy these little sleeves about 1 inch long, and that's what these are for. Basically, you put your rubber sleeve over the prongs there and then open it up, poke your cable through like that, and then release it and pull it off, and it deposited the rubber sleeve over the ends, the frayed end of the cable, and made it neat and tidy. And that's simply what they're for. I don't suppose anybody uses them today. The company that made them was called Hellermann. I think it says on there Hellermann. Both of them have got Hellermann on. But I just thought they were quite unusual. I've always kept them. I don't use them nowadays. But I say this was a simple, cheap version, and this was a more deluxe version. They were quite common back in the 60s. We used to use them quite a lot. Now the last item I'm going to show you in my odd things item is not politically correct, so if you're easily offended, I would turn off now, because you might find it a bit offensive. So what is the item? Well, here it is. It's very unusual. I don't know if you recognise the gentleman in it. It's a copper or bronze plaque, and I've had this for many years. And in case you haven't recognised him, it's actually one Hermann Göring from World War II, second in command of the Third Reich of the Nazi Party. And you know, he's a politically insensitive today, I suppose, but there is a story attached to this and it's quite interesting. During World War II, whilst in Germany, a group of British soldiers came upon a house and they found this plaque alongside one of Adolf Hitler. And the story goes that they machine gunned the Adolf Hitler plaque to pieces, and one of the soldiers pocketed this and brought it back to England. And after the war, he gave it to my grandmother. She actually lived next door to this particular person. Funny enough, I even remember his name. It was Willie Smith. and he was a lodger in the house next door to my grandmother, and he gave her this plaque, and it's been in her house all those years. And as a young child, it used to amuse me because she always told the story about how it kept rolling over, it wouldn't stand up, and she always thought it was haunted or something. And anyway, it fascinated me, and all those years, you know, I played with the thing. And then a bit later on, sometime before she died, she gave me this thing because she knew I liked it, and I've had it ever since. And it's very unusual. I've never seen another one, and you're probably the first people to see it, because I don't know if there's any more about. Maybe it's common, maybe there's thousands of them about, I don't know. But it's always intrigued me. And I've just got it in my display cabinet where it's been sitting for years. But it goes back to just after World War II. So, you know, it's like 80 odd years ago now, I suppose, when it was liberated, so to speak. But I hope you're not offended by seeing it. But I just thought it was an interesting story, that's all. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.